Now what I've done at this point, I've done a save as and made this Lab5C, made sure this is Lab5C so we can continue on and make sure we have a version that works. So what we've done so far is we've taken explain and we've taken all the code that was here, we replaced it with a function call, so it's going to do all of this by just doing this function call. The next step we want to do is take our get user input. So let's grab all of this information here. Let's do a Control X. And what we're going to do is we're going to paste it after our mainline program. And we're going to then try and call it up. Now the way we want it to work is this. After explain function, we want to say length equals get underscore value, and we also want to say width equals get underscore value. So we want a function that will return a value into length and also return a value into width. And so let's take a look at what we have right now for code. It's saying input width, input length here. What we're going to have to do is take some of this, and let's take the print statement for the prompt. Let's put it back up here where it goes. We're going to take this line as well, Control X, and we're going to put it before here. So basically we're going to prompt and then get value into length. We really need here is a scanf, but we don't need two scanfs. We just really need one. So let's get rid of this one. And what we want to do is we don't necessarily want to call it length or whatever. We're just going to call it data. Now because we've got data here, we're going to have to define a variable. So let's call it float data. To make this work, we're going to see here that we're taking no input, but we are generating output. Taking no input, but generating output. So in that case, we're going to say float because we want to return a float and get underscore value, but we're not taking any data, so that's going to be void. So this is our function prototype, and as before, to make this into a function definition, we're going to grab everything up to but not including the semicolon, Control C, and paste it here. We're also going to say our left brace bracket, and we're going to go down here and we're going to do right brace bracket. The way it's going to work is this. It's going to prompt us here, and it's going to then pass control down to here, or it's going to take keyboard input, put it into data. And the one thing we have to do here, because we've got float, notice we've got integer main void, and we had to have return 0. In this case, because we've got a floating point value, not an integer this time, we have to say return data. So that way it's going to go into length. When you return data from the data bucket, it's going to go up here and put it into the length bucket. And then when you return data the next time, a different value from the keyboard, it's going to put that value into width. So let's see how that works. Let's run this up, and before we do, let's set a breakpoint at line 21 here. So if we say step over because we have a printf, it's going to do our prompt. And then it says length equals get value. So we're going to do a step into. Notice it's transfer control down to here. And if we say step over, it's going to say scanf. We do a step over again, and it's waiting for our input. So we're going to put in 35.55, hit enter. Now at this point, it's going to go down to the return data. And let's take a look at that. Let's double click on data, right mouse click, and say add watch. So right now it's taken in 35.55, and let's see what happens next when we say step into. It hits the bracket, and then notice here when we hit it one more time, it's returned here to length. We do one more step into, watch what happens to length. Length is going to be whatever was returned here. So whatever came out of the data bucket went into length. Let's do a step over and a step into, and again it's going to come down here. It's going to say scanf. Let's do a step over, and it's ghosted, so we're going to put in 44.67, hit enter, and that's in their variable here. But when we hit step into again, it's going to return that, and as we see here, as we go back, it's going to have that value in our width variable, and it works exactly the same as before. So if we just hit run, we can see that it actually does work exactly the way we'd expect.